I'm meteorologist John Dawson. Glad you found us. This is the Fox 26 YouTube Tropical Update. We're always here a little bit after 4 o'clock every day of hurricane season. Glad you're checking in once again. A little bit of activity to talk about, and some of that actually pretty close to the coastline of the U.S. So we'll just sort of dive right into things. We'll start with this tropical wave that we've been monitoring for a bit now. And this is still an area that actually has become a little bit more organized. And we'll get a zoomed in look here in just a second. But even from this sort of wider view, you can see how a lot more shower activity has been happening, and those darker reds really indicating the more intense of those storms that are becoming, but still not quite organized enough to be a tropical cyclone, but again showing the signs that it looks like it wants to be a tropical depression, and I think eventually even a named tropical storm as we go through the next several days. But here's what the Hurricane Center is officially putting out there, that in the next 2 days it's a 50% chance that it would become a tropical cyclone, and it's still putting it at a 70% chance over that 7-day stretch. So as I mentioned, I think I'm pretty confident here that this will be a named storm. We'll just have to see exactly how long it wants to take before it gets all that organized characteristics that's needed. It really is beginning to sort of crawl into more favorable conditions, and we'll look a little bit more into that in just a minute. But here's the new spot that we want to talk about, and its chances are relatively low, and you'll notice the direction of the yellow blob here from the X marking sort of that center of the low pressure or the trough that's out there, and it's moving away from the east coast of the U.S. and those chances fairly low, 30% chance. But it's interesting, this happens a lot of times. You can kind of see this line of showers and storms here. That's kind of a front that's sort of stalling out a bit, and sometimes it's all it really needs. When you get a little bit of a low pressure like that, it just starts riding along that front, and again it kind of helps to organize it, helps to condense everything down, and it becomes a tropical system. So that is something to watch, although overall those chances are getting low. When you start moving to the north like that, you know, the waters are starting to get cooler, and those cooler waters make it a little bit more difficult to sort of get an active system going. So let's go back out to the Atlantic. Here's that closer in view of tropical wave and what the Hurricane Center is identifying as Invest 96L. We've talked about the probabilities of it developing with that 70% chance over a 7-day period. Right now, its movement is to the northwest at around 17 miles an hour, and it does have those sustained winds at 35 miles an hour. So it's right on the edge of becoming a system that the Hurricane Center would identify as a tropical depression or a tropical cyclone of some kind. Maybe, again, eventually I think we're getting to a tropical storm, but for now we'll just sort of start it at steps, little steps at a time. And the good news here with this system is you'll notice it is going to the north and then curving back to the northeast, not coming over to the east coast of the U.S. So this is where we like the Atlantic systems to go, especially as we're getting into August, almost there. And that's going to begin the peak of hurricane season, August and September, the couple of months that we see the most of the activity. So what name will we give this? Well, the World Meteorological Organization, remember, they're the ones in charge of the names. This is their list for 2023, and the next name on the list is going to be Emily. So that's what we will use about that. If you've got some more questions about naming of the storms, or maybe you just want to ask me anything at all, I'm not always able to kind of get into the comments here on YouTube as much as I would like to, but if you want to track me down on Twitter or Instagram, I'm kind of on Facebook a little bit, but again, that's not where I spend a lot of time, but you'll see posts of what's going on locally here in Houston. And again, if you just want to connect and ask me a question, it'd be great. Find me at John Dawson, Fox 26. Twitter, Instagram, those are going to be the kind of best ways to get a hold of me, ask some questions about names or anything else that you have going on. But as always, thankful that you found us here on YouTube, the Fox 26 channel. Be sure and subscribe. Always invited to share our page as well with some other folks if you think they need to know what's going on in the tropics. Thanks for finding us for today, and of course, we will be back again tomorrow.